Recovering from drugs and alcohol is only the beginning. Staying out the crack houses, staying out the dope lines, staying out the liquor stores, that's only the beginning. Recovery is recovering our lives. We have to change the way we think about, other people, right? We have to have better relationships with our family, loved ones, and friends. We have to build that financial freedom if that's something that you want to do, right? We have to be better to human beings. We have to work on our mental focus, our mental strength. If you are recovering from drugs and alcohol and you still feel stuck, this is the place for you. In these videos, I'm going to give you guys my experience, strength, and hope. My name is Rock, R-O-C. Now, if you're trying to level up in your life and stop being stuck, make sure you subscribe, put that like button, and get ready for the next video. Let's go. I got to keep it real with you guys. I really suck at relationships. I really suck at dating because I used to believe that all women was out to try to use me in some type of way, try to get some money out of me, try to get me to pay for a dinner, try to get me to buy a purse, some shoes, light bill, gas bill, whatever the case was. I always believed that women was out to try to, use me in some type of fashion or form. So what it did, it closed me off to different type of relationships, or even opened myself to a good relationship, because I was always looking for the bad. I always was looking for red flags. I'm gonna give you all examples of what I mean by red flags, right? So early in recovery, I went out with this young lady that I met on Facebook dating, right? And we talked for a little while. We text for like a couple of days, and we started talking. We exchanged phone numbers and things like that. So we end up, going out on a couple of dates. I think the last day we went to Lucky Strike. It was like a bowling place with pool and video games and stuff like that. We had a good time. The conversation was cool. She had a little drink, a little lemon drop and stuff like that. I didn't really mind, right? What you drink don't get me drunk, right? So the crazy thing about it was we was really digging each other. She was digging me, I was digging her. After we finished eating, we went out to the car and we're just chilling, listening to some music, just talking, right? And I guess she got a little bit too tipsy because she started talking all type of crazy stuff. Not like crazy, but she kept on saying, yeah, I really like you. I want to have sex with you and this and all these other things, right? We should go get a hotel. And I'm like, that's cool. That sounds like something that we can do. And then she started saying about, I really want to be with you, but I'm going to put you on a 60-day wait period or something like this, however she worded it, but I'm going to make you wait, right? And I'm like, you going to make me wait? No problem. I'm not one of them type of guys, right? So it kind of like pushed me, rubbed me the wrong way. I started feeling in some type of way that you're going to make me wait, right? So after the date was over, I drove her to her car. She got in the car, she drove off, right? And I came home. And she tried calling me the next day. I didn't pick up, because I felt some type of way, because you're talking about you're going to make me wait. Hey, I know y'all gonna hit me in the comments and talk about how crazy this is, but it is what it is. I'm just being truthful. This is why I say I suck at relationships, right? In another situation, real quick, I met this lady at a restaurant I went to with the guys. We went on sometimes we go out for lunch at different spots and stuff like that before we go to the meeting. That's what we was doing this Sunday. And this young lady, she was getting out of church, and she was sitting there with her girlfriend. And, I reached up to her and said, hey, what you looking for a husband? Because she was cute, a cute little lady, right? So we exchanged phone numbers. We started talking for a couple of weeks on the phone and things like that, right? And in the middle of some of the conversations, she was like, we're just friends, right? She kept on saying that we just friends. I'm like, what you mean by we just friends? I'm like, yeah, I'm not into trying to get with nobody and stuff like that. And we just friends. I don't know if this is really gonna work out. It's gonna take me a while to get to know you and all that type of stuff, right? So I was like, cool, we just friends. So since we just friends, when we go out on this date, we had planned a date. When we go out on this date, we're gonna go Dutch. Since we just friends, we're not in a relationship. We're not looking to be in a relationship. We just friends, right? She was like, yeah, I pay for my way, you pay for yours. So cool, we got that settled. So we end up going to this ramen place. And then she ordered some stuff, right? And I got a ramen bowl and I got some little sides and stuff like that, right? And when the bill came, I expected her to pay for her half, right? Or her portion. And she didn't. She was like, most men, when they take me out, they pay for my meal, right? Why don't you be a gentleman and pay for my meal? I said, what? Then we said we was going to go. I said, you know what? Don't even worry about it. I got it. I paid for the meal, left a tip. We left out, right? She went to her car. I went to my car. I ain't never called her back again, right? And that was mainly because I had to understand, or I knew that I had control issues. I'm not gonna let anybody push me in any type of direction. I'm not a crackhead no more. I'm not out there smoking. I'm not setting no lines and them young boys telling me to stand up straight, get in the single file line, and no change and no singles. I'm not letting nobody tell me what to do, in this aspect, because I have control over my life, right? This is this arrogance and this controlling thing that I got, right? So I had to understand that certain things about dating and relationships, I had to kill some of those old ideas that I had about relationships and women, because I have some PTSD. I've been in some bad relationships. A lot of them was toxic because most of the time the women I was with, they was addicts too, right? So it's always trauma, it's always some crazy stuff going on. And they always cheated, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, because they had to get their thing done, to get their money for their stuff, right? So I felt betrayed, and some of the trauma I had when I was a younger man, right? With different family members and stuff like that. So I had this preconceived idea that women was always toxic, right? It was always just for sex. They were sex objects, right? I also was in relationships where if the woman just looked good, had a nice, woo up the bam, right? Even if she was toxic, I still stayed with her just because she was fine, right? And being in recovery, I've had to learn that it ain't about what's on the outside. She had to be cute, right? She had to be attractive, but it's not always about what's on the outside, right? So I had this preconceived ideas that women will always try to use you no matter what. And it took me a long time to get to the point where I'm at now, where I look at people or women as human beings, right? And I don't block myself off from being in a good relationship or being in contact with a good friend per se, right? Because if I close myself off to all of them, I'm blocking myself off from some of the good too. Even though there is a lot of bad out there, women with bad intentions, just like there's guys out there with bad intentions. Because I always used to be one of them guys with the bad intentions, right? I knew you needed something. I had a little money. I used you. So this is what the PTSD I'm talking about. Because in my past life, when I was out there drinking and drugging, I used women just as well as they used me. So now I used to have these preconceived ideas that relationship was always transactional, which is not absolutely true in the sense of the word, right? So recovery brought to my attention that the disease do not center in my body, it centers in my mind, right? And I'm gonna go to I'm gonna quote a sentence out of the big book on page 22. It says, the main problem of an alcoholic or / addict centers in the mind rather than his body. So I had to remember what I was thinking about. When I met a beautiful lady, I was attracted to her, she was attracted to me. Anytime I seen some type of red flag, which it might not even been a red flag, it was just I was looking for the negative, right? So I had to flip it, because in recovery I have to look at the positive. I have to have a way of looking at things that differently than I used to do in the past, right? Because when I was out there with the swivel, I was always looking for the negative to make sure I don't get harmed. I don't have to live like that no more. And that brings me to page 122 in the big book. We think being on guard protects us, but it actually keeps us from connecting, right? And that comes from the Family Afterwards, page 122. The alcoholic is like a tornado roaring through lives of others, right? I've done so much damage to other women, right? To other situations, to family members, all that. So I preconceived ideas from my past experiences. I always expect something bad to happen because I put a lot of bad out there. But today I'm doing good things, right? I'm not trying to harm nobody purposely. So I'm sowing good seeds, right? I'm sowing into people, so I should expect good things back. On page 127 in the big book, it says, we try to live in such a way that we give no offense to anyone, and we bring our recovery into our homes, right? I used to bring my control home. Now I bring my program home. This may hit hard for a lot of you guys. I know it really hits home to me, because if I meet somebody in recovery, right, especially a newer person, I treat them with some patience and some tolerance. So I have to bring recovery home. Home means, outside of the rooms, outside of the meetings, outside of people that's in recovery, right? I have to bring it to my family. I have to be patient and tolerant with them. When I meet a woman, and we go out for dinner or we talking on the phone, I have to have some patience and tolerance because we all have defects of character, right? I can't be the one that's pointing out the defect of character of somebody else and judging them on that like it's their whole personality, because I'm still fucked up too. I got ways about me that people probably don't like, right? I'm very blunt, right? I'm very fast with the words, right? So sometimes it may harm people, right? One of my buddies, he called me a troll, right? Because I say things to people just to get a reaction out of them. It's funny to me, right? Other people think it's funny too as well, but it is what it is, right? And some people don't like that. So just because another person has a character defect, that don't mean I have to like magnify that. I have to search and look for the good in people, right? And just not just searching for that, but also trying to grow a connection, right? We might not be like close friends, right? But maybe we can go on dates sometimes, right? And get to know each other, right? And because this is my past experience in thinking that if a woman was not trying to give me some sex, she wasn't good for me, right? She didn't really like me if she didn't give me sex. And that's not true. That's only because of my past experiences and the way I used to think. That if a woman is not trying to be up all on you and give you something like that, she's not really into you, right? She's just trying to use you for something, right? And then also on the other hand, when I met women that's always trying to really trying to jump on you or on me, she really wanted something out of me. She's trying to do an exchange, some money for sex. So it's like I was blocking myself off from a lot of things because I seen a lot of red flags, and what it stopped me from doing is being in a beautiful relationship with women, right? Or just being in relationships, period. Relationship with a woman is just, part of it, but it blocks me out from even introduce myself to other people that we could just be totally friends. And one of the main things I've learned is having patience, listening, and having a communication, right? Now that I sit back and I look at a woman, not because she's beautiful, and be like, hey, when can I get some, right? You know what I mean? Because, hey, I'm messed up, right? I'm learning how just communicating with them, asking them, how they day going, right? Basic stuff. What's up with work? What I mean? How your children doing, right? That's another red flag. If a woman had children that was still in the house, I didn't date them because I'm selfish. When I call you on the phone and we say we're supposed to be kicking it, right? And we go out somewhere, if you're picking up your phone to talk to your child or somebody else, I feel like you ain't paying attention to me. I'm still selfish and self-centered, but I have to work on that shit, right? Because people have other lives, right? That'll make that person a bad person because she has to deal with her children, right? I'm 51 years old, so sometimes I got to deal with grandchildren. And that used to be one of the points or parts where I just shut women off if they had too much going on. And the crazy thing is that I've learned from recovery, it's not always about being right. It's about being real, right? And the more I've noticed that I've been transparent with women, they open up and be more transparent. Because I talk about my past life because I don't have nothing to hide. I'm an ex-crackhead, right? I'm an ex-dope fiend. I'm an alcoholic, right? And I go to meetings, right? I have sponsee brothers, I have a sponsee family that I do deal with because it's part of my lifestyle. And when I start talking about some of my past situations and lifestyle and stuff like that, it's crazy how other people open up. Women open up and start talking about what they're going through, what they've been through and stuff like that. And they start being attracted to that because most people, I ain't gonna say guys, but most people don't open up and be real. They have this facade. They try to carry this persona of them being this or that and the other. But when you're being vulnerable, you attract the right people, and people start being vulnerable with you. That's when you get that real connection that we're actually looking for as human beings, right? Because God didn't put us here to be by ourselves. And I blocked myself off from being around people for a long time, right? Especially when I was smoking crack in a closet, right? Smoking on a crate in the basement with a pipe in my mouth, lighting on fire, all that type of stuff, because I didn't want to be around people. Now in recovery, I have to flip it. I can't be seclude. I cannot seclude myself from people. I guess that's how you pronounce it. I'm not that smart. But I can't do that no more. That's what I did in my smoking days, in my drinking days. I wasn't around people. Now I have to put myself in the middle of people and experience life. From being in recovery, I learned that when I was looking out for those red flags, that's really was fear. Fear of being harmed, fear of being rejected, all types of forms of fear, right? And for me being in recovery, that's like no. That I cannot live in that type of way no more. I have to attract what I'm putting out, right? So I have confidence in myself, right? And in who I am, I attract the right people. When I stopped expecting people to hurt me, I started to attract peace. Y'all might feel me on this. I really do suck at trusting people, right? Outside of people that I deal with in recovery and also my sponsor, because I believe I have to be totally honest with my sponsor. That way I can get some help, right? I really suck at trusting people because people be full of shit sometimes. They be out always trying to play games and stuff like that, and I ain't got time, right? But by me not trusting people, I stopped experiencing genuine people that's actually out there because I don't have my spidey senses out, looking for them to be on some bullshit. When I stopped doing that, I started actually experiencing peace. So yeah, I really suck at at relationships, but I'm getting better because I'm working on me. Recovery isn't just about stop drinking and drugging, it's about getting better. With all this said, I finally opened up, started having some patience and tolerance with women. So now that I've started working on myself, I started dating this young lady, and we've been going out for a couple of months now, maybe a month and a half. We went out to different restaurants, we've been kicking it, and because I've opened up to who I am and what I'm going through and stuff like that, she started opening up about herself, right? And it's a very good feeling to be able to connect with a young lady. I'm not looking at the red flags, even when they pop up. I started looking at the positive things about her, right? Well, my mind tells me, oh, she said this, she got an attitude and all the type of stuff. I started looking at her like, she's beautiful. She got a beautiful smile, right? You know what I mean? You start looking at her butt ain't that big and stuff like that. Okay, but she's a caring person. She's a CNA, right? She's adopting a kid, right? Which is, everybody can't and won't do that, right? So she has a loving heart. I know this about her, right? She's very mindful of what I like and what I don't like and trying to learn me as a person. And the same thing I'm doing for her. And we have a good relationship, which I love so much. This is me just being transparent with you guys, just showing from my experience that we don't have to close ourselves off to living a good life and experiencing love and relationships just because we have past trauma, past PTSD, right? We can start living life and start loving people and also receiving love from others. If you found this video useful, please subscribe, hit that like button, put a comment in there that relapse is not a fucking option. And I'll see you guys in the next video. And remember, go out there and have a great day on purpose. Peace.